Hello everybody, this is Danny Rabin from Marvin. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Allan Holdsworth's licks on dominant chords and some of the logic that he would use playing over harmony. Things that go like... all the kind of little cool out there sounding things he would do and how he'd think about them. I got to spend a month with him in 2012. Marvin was opening up for his trio, and I got to see a little bit of what he was doing firsthand. And he was a jazz player in the sense that he would play modes over chords, and he would think about it like that. Now, what I want to talk to you about specifically is his use of symmetric diminished over dominant chords and how he'd think about it, because a lot of people do it, but nobody really sounds like him. And he has a different way of laying it out on the guitar. Now, the traditional way of playing symmetric diminished over dominant chords, nothing new, is just basically the half-whole mode. And over a dominant chord, if I'm starting on E, let's say I'm playing over an E7. When I say E7, I mean E dominant 7, like 1, 3, 5, flat 7. If I play symmetric diminished on it, meaning the half-whole mode, then what I get intervallically is 1, E, flat 2, F, sharp 2, G, 3, which is G sharp, sharp 4, A sharp, right? Then 5, B, 6, which is C sharp, and flat 7, which is D. Okay, so it's this, and that's a traditional fingering for that. But when you have an 8-note scale, if you put it 3 notes per string on the guitar, it obviously keeps circling around in kind of a funny way. But because I have 6 strings on the guitar, if I lay it out 4 notes per string, I get this one shape that just repeats in flat fifths because the scale is diminished, meaning because the diminished scale is symmetric. So, meaning symmetric, I mean built on repeating intervals. So let's say I'm looking at that E half-whole diminished starting on F, okay, which is just the bottom note of the guitar that's kind of like not an open string. So I have this shape for it. 1, 3, 4, 6. And then that shape translates identically up a string a tritone away, meaning a string and a fret away, starting on the 2nd fret. And that's the 8 notes of the scale. And now you get the same thing an octave up. And an octave up. So it's one shape, which is a much easier way of looking at the same thing. Now, but because the symmetric diminished scale has such a distinct sound, Allan would jumble the notes around. How would he do that? He'd take that 4-note pattern and get rid of one of the inner voices, right? So instead of 1, 3, 4, 6, he'd just play 1, 3, 6, right? So, and then he would move that in tritones. Right? Now, over the E7, that already starts to sound a little more like him. So, now the other thing is that you could get rid of the other voice. Play 1, 4, 6, that shape. Now, things you can do with symmetric diminished in terms of moving it. So you can you can move it in tritones using the same shape. But you can also, you have this cool symmetry happening here between, let's say, the high E and the high G string, where if you skip the B string, you can use the same shape. You can also move it in minor thirds, right? So that would be like 4 frets down, or, yeah. It's still a part of the same thing. So he would play licks like... And so with this shape, and then move it this way between the D and B string, the same symmetry happens. That lick he would play all the time. you can actually go chromatically down using the same shape till you get a minor third down. He would do that all the time. Now, he would also use the second shape coming out of this scale, which is this one, 3, 4, 6, 7, but then take one of the inner voices out. Now, these two were the ones he used the most. You see it all the time. 3, 4, 7. And all these kind of licks that he would do. So all this stuff is just coming out of E symmetric diminished once you jumble the notes around this way. The last shape that he would use a lot would be this one, 3, 6, 7, as opposed to 3, 4, 7, right? So that... I keep resolving to A Dorian because I'm playing an E7. So he would use it over like a jazz progression. So that's a 5-1. So E7 to A minor. So he, instead of like the way normal people would play it, Allan would go like... Right? So he had a real different way of thinking. Now I don't really use that kind of vocabulary in my playing because to me it's very distinctly him. You know, that's when you make choices that are so specific to yourself, you really develop your own sound. And hanging out with him, he really didn't like people that imitated him. He always said like, if that fucker took 5 minutes to figure out who he is instead of 20 years to figure out who I am, you know. But you know, he was funny about that, and I took that to heart, you know. But in any case, I think it's still useful to kind of see that mode of thinking for what it is and demystify it. Understand it's just a way of looking at notes laid in groups of 4 over the strings, and then just kind of like taking one out to create that sound. So again, you have these shapes, these kind of things. That's shape 1, shape 2. Shape 2 kind of looks like the beginning of a minor pentatonic, right? Shape 3. Up. That's it. And shape 4. And then after that point on the guitar, it just repeats. So shape 1, a tritone up. Shape 2, a tritone up. Another thing is you can move it like in 6s. Like, let's say I take one of the shapes and then skip a string and go... Oh, sorry. And another 6. And then like here, same deal. Cool? You guys get it? Is it helping? I hope so. Dan Rubin from Marvin here. See you next time.